Hey collectors, Anthony from HNE here, and today we're looking at the 90s Bandai Dragon Ball action figures, and of course in front of you is the whole line of Frieza. Now, these each come from, well, I should say not each, they represent three different series in that particular toy line, because of course on the left you see the two gimmicks, and then on the right you see the more posable figures without gimmicks. So I figured the best approach is to go through them one at a time and see what the differences are. So this is base form Frieza. It has a firing function, as you saw there. That thing is long gone. As an adult now, I realize this is probably a bad idea. Not that you can stick anything in there really, but it screams, maybe think again, you know. And of course, as a figure that's very old, it is marked up and damaged, but yeah. Tail wags, I guess. Like, you can't move it. It's like kind of just stuck there. There is arm articulation in one direction, and the legs are on a ball joint, but it's kind of like limited. You can really only do so much with it. And the head, because of the, I have to say the trigger piece should be contained, but maybe because of it, it only can move this way. But I mean, when it's the only Frieza you have, you kind of have to go, okay, well, that's the Frieza. It's just, I don't know, it bothers me a little bit, but you gotta like get the legs forward like this for it to also balance on the back end of the, you know, tails, so you can even stand it up. So of course the second form, or first form, was it considered base form, first form? I don't know. Anyway, this is the next form of Frieza, and the trigger for this one is on the arm, and of course because I'm holding it up, gravity does not apply. But or maybe, I guess just isn't enough power there anymore. You can see the bit is kind of warped. I mean, it's some decent decoration on the particular ball piece. I mean, if we compare it to the other one, yeah, I mean, it's some decent. I mean, the other one's more fleshed out, I guess. So this Frieza, of course, is the one after Krillin did the Destructo Disc on the tail. So, of course, the tail is missing a bit. But, I mean, there's a lot more articulation on, at least tail. The legs are no longer on ball joints more than they're just on a straight-up singular movement. And then the arms are also kind of just that way now. So they kind of took away functionality for a later figure. I don't know. But scary enough. Got all the spikes. So, you know, the tail helps them stand, which is great because it is a little bit heavy, at least backwards. So, moving on to the third form. Of course, this one looks more like King Cold, but this is the one that impaled Krillin after the tail thing. And this one actually is from a later series where the line had a lot more articulation. Actual knee joints. Look at that. And arm, though, limited articulation. There's not even a hand thing going on here in any of these, but actual knee joints. It's like, what? They give you the ability to move the tail and knee joints, and the head does move, and it's soft plastic up here. But it's a decent looking figure, menacing. But then finally, and the oldest of these, by the way, this figure is in series 1 or 2 with Goku. The tail, I think, used to spin around at one point, but I think it might have been glued in because it feels like it has been because it kept falling out. But just look at the face on Frieza. The eyes are not correct, but the feet, for some reason, have this bit going on, so you can turn them. But yeah, it's just legit. Only the arms really move and the feet. Like, that is it for this Frieza. And, I mean, when you're a little kid and you're playing with these things, these were for my little brother, he loved them, and I would play with him because I love Dragon Ball. So they did what they needed to do. They helped flare the imagination. And for the 90s, it's all we really needed. So one more thing I wanted to cover, and it wasn't a transformation more than kind of just an adjustment. And you may be familiar with this adjustment. Of course, we're talking about Mecha Frieza. And they did release this figure, and it's like later in the series, and it has like a joint on its arm so it can do poses. It has that, like that inner arm ball joint, so you can get them to do a couple of things, both mechanical arm and natural arm, I guess. Head rotation, arm spin around. The tail does a 360, but I don't know if you can tell. The tail is starting to see its age, so probably shouldn't mess with... Oh, yeah, the tail broke. Yeah, so that's got to be fixed. But knee bend, it has ankle, and that is why we glued the tail on the other one. So yeah, pretty good. Range is there. So it's nice in the later line, but we'll move this over here. And then the one thing I forgot to point out was that this figure actually has a suit top, which is supposed to explode off, like when you're trying to simplify it, you're like transforming or something. But yeah, it has this, and it doesn't stay on very well, although now that I wanted it to come off, it does. But yeah, it's just the armor that you see on the typical Frieza Force member. So I figured I'd point those two things out.
With that said, tell me in the comments your thoughts on these items. Did you get them? And how was your experience with them? Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.